Council, we'll call ourselves to order. This is the regular meeting, the first regular meeting, in fact, of this council, Monday, December the 14th, 1987. And the first item on the agenda is the minutes for adoption from our statutory meeting of December 7th. It's moved and seconded. Do I hear any errors or omissions found in those minutes? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. I should note, Council, that Alderman Neville is absent with leave this evening, representing Council at the Recreation 5 Commission meeting. Item 2 on the agenda, recommendations, the first being the minutes from the Advisory Planning Commission of December the 8th.
Your Worship, I move that the recommendation of the Advisory Planning Committee of December the 8th be adopted. And I would like to make a further comment.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Alderman Grill, go ahead.
In reference, there was quite a discussion on handicap ramps, access ramps, Your Worship, and I thought it was further clarified the position that the Canada Building Code takes in regards to handicap ramps, and I had discussed the matter with you, and I'm sure you're aware of some of the provisions for it. There is no such thing as a handicap fund, or a handicap ramp fund. It never was. With the understanding that some of the members of the Advisory Planning Committee, Heritage Advisory Committee, thought there was such a fund, but there was never one of such nature. I would like to make a comment regarding the retirement of Mr. Bell, who is the chairman of the Advisory Planning Committee. He's stepping down from his position, and I think a letter of thanks should be sent to Mr. Bell, perhaps a certificate as well, on behalf of his outstanding service to the Advisory Planning Committee. I think he's going to be a man that's going to be very hard to replace. However, we will replace him, and perhaps the city should think of appointing a man in that position. So I shall move.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, Alderman Grill, but we can deal with that after we dispense with the minutes. Is that kind of... I was going to say. Great, much better than it blowing up. Council, any other discussion on the adoption of these minutes? Alderman Grill, maybe I could ask you, or maybe staff can give some guidance. The first item refers back to a subcommittee, the issue of handicapped access, but the minutes don't reveal just what the issue is. Do you have insight into that, Mr. Adams? Do you happen to know what it is they're considering?
I think, Your Worship, if I may elaborate on that, it has been referred to the Heritage Advisory Committee. I think it's going back for referral, and it hasn't quite reached the council.
But I don't know what it is. We don't know what it is.
With regards to the provisions in the Building Code of Canada regarding the commitments of new buildings regards to handicap access. There was the assumption of majority of the individuals that a building had to have access to a new building when erected had to have handicap access. That's not true. Any building that's over 6,000 square feet must have one, but under 6,000 it does not have to. And there are provisions on churches, and there are stipulations as well, Your Worship.
Thanks, Alderman.
I think that's probably why it's referred back.
Staff have anything to add just for explanation?
Just for clarification, Your Worship, I think the recommendation that's being referred back is the one dealing with the city building inspector ensuring that section 7.3 of the building code be closely adhered to. I think that's the intent of that.
Fine. Thanks, I have enough information. If there's no more debate, are you ready for the question on the adoption of these minutes? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Number 2B, the Civic Centre Committee minutes of December 2nd.
That may be received for information.
Second.
I thought now Alderman Neville isn't here, but perhaps staff can help me out. Under the heading Existing Civic Centre Programs, it's looking at, let's see, bear with me. No, I'm thinking down towards the bottom that the arena be closed from the latter part of August to the end of September. By adopting this, we're not approving that at this point, are we, staff?
If you adopt the recommendation, Your Worship, you would be.
Okay, Alderman Heflin, you said receive for information. Did you mean
Yeah.
to approve the recommendations?
No.
Okay, the motion at present says to receive for information.
I thought it would be better if Alderman Neville could fill us in, or perhaps the administrator could give us some background as to what the recommendation means and why, before we move to adopt the recommendations.
I think the basic reason for making the recommendation, Your Worship, was in the interest of cost saving. Apparently, during that particular month, there is little use of the facility, is what we have been told. And we have a report from the Parks and Recreation Facility Superintendent indicating that there could be a potential saving of close to $11,000 in utilities, labor, supplies, and equipment if it's closed for that period. That was the basis for the recommendation.
Perhaps, Alderman Heflin, what you might do if you choose is receive the minutes, adopt the recommendation under existing Civic Centre programs, and ask the committee to come back with more detail regarding the second recommendation.
I was just going to ask if the hockey school or any of the other things are going at that particular time. That's why I wasn't sure whether we should adopt it or not. But I'd be quite happy to do so as long as there's clarification and as long as we aren't carving this in stone if there is a problem with it in the future.
Your Worship, this was the time frame after the hockey school and the figure skating school, and it was open and ready for minor hockey and the regular figure skating program, and it just wasn't utilized until almost the first weekend, well into the first week in October.
Well, and I would be willing to change the motion to receive for information and adopt the recommendation subject to information coming from the committee.
Second, Rodriguez.
Okay, the motion's changed. Mr. Administrator?
Alderman Smithson.
Yes, I'm trying to get to Alderman Smithson, but I thought I'd allow the mover to get the motion on the floor that she really wanted to have on the floor. Alderman Smithson.
The motion can proceed, Mr. Mayor, because it does indicate here that it is subject to program proposals made by local organizations that will ensure reasonable significant utilization. So there is the wording in the meeting minutes that allow us to continue operation if it's deemed that it's advisable or reasonable to continue. So really we're not closing the doors on it by our decision to accept the minutes this evening.
If some organization wanted in there for a solid week, I'm sure we would open it.
Yeah.
There's no problem.
And the provision is in here for that.
Yes.
If they had something like the band concert or something like that, which is a one-night thing.
We'd have to look at it.
Okay, I'm clear now. It is subject to the program proposals, as it even says here. Hearing no other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 3 on the agenda, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities membership fee.
Move that we authorize payment.
Second.
Hearing no debate? All those in favor? Carried. Item 4, a letter from KBS inviting our participation in the Lifestyles Fair 88.
I would move the recommendation as written by the mayor.
Second?
Thank you, and I'm sorry there's no price on this. That was on subsequent pages that we didn't copy, but it's a few $100s similar to last year. Hearing no debate? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 5, a memo from Director of Works Adams recommending participation in a sewer and storm sewer water separation study.
I'd move that we, there's two here. I'd move that we put forward the recommendation from Mr. Adams as from his memo of November the 24th.
I'll second it.
It's moved to proceed as recommended.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I could discuss, because I think there's alternatives involved here. my questions would be to ask the Director of Works, because there are alternatives, what do we get for the $5,000 study? And would that be adequate? Because I noticed that there's 100% funding for the 5,000, and additional study points require participation.
Yes. Well, the study wouldn't be complete. What we have done a very preliminary study, and what it has shown us is that our sanitary sewer system has got a great amount of infiltration, groundwater getting into the system either through rainwater leaders or just strictly groundwater. And the sewage treatment plant is basically it's well to capacity, and on some rainy days it's over capacity. And what the study will tell us is exactly where specific areas we have to zero in on and try and either get all the rainwater leaders off of it or stop the infiltration by grouting the sewer lines or replacing sewer lines or whatever it means.
I'm aware of that. Will a $5,000 study
No.
do that job?
No.
So your recommendation is that we must go for the higher one?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
I'd like to amend my motion, therefore, Mr. Mayor, if I'm allowed to amend my own motion, to add to that the funding requested of $9,300.
Okay,
$9,300?
with staff advice, I'm going to interpret that as being the main motion, because that is really what is
Well,
recommended.
is he recommending it there?
No, the whole thing, yes.
Okay,
9,000.
9,600.
300.
Total study, I believe, Your Worship, is
14,300.
14,003. Okay. That would be the amount included in my motion, Mr. Mayor.
Good, that's my understanding on the main
Yes.
motion anyway.
Yeah.
Just to understand it a little further, we're not that swift on some of these technical things, Director Adams. I can't see what solid information such a study provides. We know that stormwater runs into our sanitary sewer lines. You have all that in your head from what you've demonstrated. So what technical information does this study provide you?
Well, it would, what we do is divide the city up into specific areas and actually measure the flow in manholes. And with that, we can determine exactly what areas are causing the infiltration is coming from. And it would break it down to that there's a lot of infiltration on 500 block Baker Street, for instance, and then practically none in the 400 block Baker Street.
So you don't know where...
Not exactly.
I
We know it's infiltration. We have it broken down into some very large areas. We divided the city up into about 20 areas a few years ago and did some real preliminary manhole studies, and we got that much information, but we do need a very detailed block-by-block survey to find out exactly which blocks are the problem blocks.
So it may allow you to address the worst flows
Yes.
the most cheaply possible.
Oh, yes.
I see. Well, that certainly sounds sensible. Thanks. Any other discussion?
I'll make one comment, and that is, I'm sure the Director of Works can expand on the specific numbers, but when our sewage treatment plant was constructed, it was constructed for servicing a population base far greater than it is right now, and there are times now, because of the infiltration problem we're discussing, that it's up to complete utilization, so, or very close to, so that one of the problems they're trying to solve is a sewage treatment plant that will operate to the plans upon which it was originally designed and constructed. Is that not accurate?
Yes, there's the plant. The average daily flow at the plant now is about 1.5 million gallons a day, and if we get a 5-day rainy period like we just had, and I didn't check this one, but there was one in March of this year, that the flows went steadily up and we're over 2.2 million by the end of the 5th day. So, and that was all rainwater, either through infiltration or strictly rainwater leaders.
Hearing no other debate, Council, are you ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 6, a memo from the Director of Works regarding an address 724 Baker Street.
Move that the encroachment agreement be drawn up.
Second, Your Worship.
Hearing no debate. I'm sorry, Mr. Administrator?
Your Worship, could we have included in there that subject to
Subject.
advice from a legal or
Certainly.
solicitor?
That's agreed to by the seconder, is it?
Yes, Your Worship.
Hearing no debate, all those in favor? Opposed and carried. Item 7 is a resolution regarding a request for a development variance permit to a company called 3DR Holdings. I think this harkens back to the Dairy Queen presentation we had 2 weeks ago.
I move we authorize a resolution.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to allow the setback and parking variances. Hearing no debate, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 8, we need a whole package of annual resolutions. Mr. Administrator, would it be appropriate to do all 5 in one resolution, or do you need individual resolutions?
I think it would be preferable, Your Worship, to have individual resolutions because they are important policies.
I move we approve the closing agreement.
Second.
Hearing no debate on the motion to adopt the encroachment policy, all those in favor? Carried.
Move we adopt the policy regarding the setbacks
Second.
and encroachments, I'm sorry.
Item 8B,
Item 8D.
hearing no debate, all those in favor? Carried.
Move that we accept the item number 8C, the BC Telephone Company.
Second.
Hearing no debate, all those in favor? Carried.
Move that we approve the signature for power line easements.
Second.
All those in favor? Carried.
Your turn, Steve.
I move that adoption of resolution form regarding the yard lighting documents and item E, 8E.
Second.
Approval.
It's moved and seconded. Hearing no debate. All those in favor? Carried. And we'll bypass item 9, a public hearing, to proceed at 8 o'clock. Item 10, a series of requests. The first being from the District of Saanich, which has taken a position on gaming, otherwise known as gambling.